Welcome to Beyond the Money with Jackie Campbell. Jackie is a certified financial planner, CPA, personal financial specialist, and founding partner of Campbell Company Wealth Advisors and CPAs.
I'm always a firm believer that prior planning pays, and you're never going to get to something if you don't even know where you're at and what path you need to take to get there.
Get more at mycampbellco.com. Now, because there's more to life than just finances, let's go beyond the money.
Helping you navigate to and through retirement with Jackie Campbell and the team at Campbell Company Wealth Advisors and CPAs. Call it anytime this weekend, 352-251-1015. We're always available online at mycampbellco.com. My name is Mark Owens. Jackie, we talk about, I guess you could say it's one of your multiple pillars in retirement planning. But we always focus on taxes, income, and risk. And with that, if you're about 5 years from retirement, now may be the time to start that countdown checklist. Jackie, as we get started this weekend here on Beyond the Money Radio and the Beyond the Money podcast, I want you to hear this clip from Morningstar's Christine Benz. She says that one of the items should be de-risking your portfolio.
A lot of people do come into retirement with very equity-heavy portfolios. The idea is that you're taking some risk off the table. And what you're doing there is that you're protecting yourself against a bad sequence of returns, specifically bad equity market losses showing up early in your retirement. So if you've built out your portfolio's allocation to safer assets, you could spend from those and leave your more aggressive equity assets intact, leave them room to recover when the market eventually does.
So, Jackie, how often do you find that you have somebody come in, take advantage of that complimentary initial consultation, they don't realize how risky their portfolio really is?
Well, that's just it. And everything kind of, if you're not rebalancing your portfolio, kind of just, it grows at its own pace. And people just don't realize it. They just look at the bottom line. What's the return? How is my portfolio doing? Am I going in a positive direction? But the closer you get to that red zone of what we call retirement, and that is typically that 3 to 5 year window, it's time to take a look. How are you invested? Because when you come in and sit down with us for the very first time, we're going to go through this 360-degree retirement roadmap, and it is going to go over that countdown checklist. It's going to include your portfolio risk. How much risk are you truly taking? And we're going to introduce something to you called a sequence of returns risk. So when we show you the difference that a 25-year return in the stock market can make for each different type of potential strategy that is out there, showing that you're just staying fully invested. You're going to get 100% of the gains, 100% of the losses. We'll show you what that looks like once you start taking those distributions out. Sequence of returns risk. Again, something that really has a true significant, sometimes non-recoverable impact in your retirement. The second thing is going to be the retirement income plan. Do you even have a plan? We're so accustomed to when we're working, Mark, to get that mailbox money, get that direct deposit. We know the paycheck's coming in. If we overspend on a long weekend or going on a vacation or doing something for a wedding for a family or friend, we know, okay, hey, we can just be tight for the next couple of weeks because we've got paychecks coming in. When you're in retirement, unless you're lucky enough to have a pension or some other multiple different legs of income, guaranteed lifetime income in retirement, then you kind of have to create your own. So retirement income plan is going to be the second important thing that we're going to talk about. And then the third one, it affects everybody, Mark. I don't care what age you are. No one wants to overpay income taxes. And having a smart tax plan, and even more importantly in retirement, the withdrawal strategy. How are you going to take your distributions, replace that monthly income, that mailbox money, we call it, with income, instead of just snatching and grabbing from various accounts, which is typically the plan being used by someone who's not working with a professional advisor that specializes in retirement planning.
Is there a certain age where we can be a little more risky in our portfolio? And is there an age where you say, all right, now it's time to pull back on the amount of risk that you're taking?
Well, definitely. No one has a crystal ball. Not anyone on social media, anyone on the radio, anyone on TV, anyone in all these articles that are coming out about what's going to happen next in the market. No one truly knows. They're using patterns. It's math, right? They're using patterns. They're using algorithms to kind of predict what some of the things are going to happen. But you use those things to make the very best decision that you can when you're the investment advisor. But as an individual who's saving for retirement, yes, there's going to be periods of time where you hope that the market's going to go down because you're going to be buying in low. You're going to be putting money in your 401k, your IRAs, and continuing to invest for your future. And you've got the buying opportunity. For example, look at someone who's 28 years old. They have got their entire future marked. Yeah. They have something that you and I do not have.
Metabolism? A full head of hair?
Yeah, those could be two things for sure. But time, T-I-M-E, they've got that power of compounding capability and time. So the longer your runway, the easier it is going to be to kind of see, when things are going to be kind of getting in your way. I always love the analogy, living in Florida, we kind of have some hills in Florida, but it's pretty much just flat open roads. Right. So when I go to the mountains, we go to North Carolina, Tennessee, those are kind of our favorite areas to go to get a little bit of a winter, so to speak. And, when you're driving, when you're on open road, we all do it. Come on. There's a certain number of miles per hour we can go over the speed limit and probably not get a ticket most everywhere, right? So we kind of know those little cheat sheet things. But when you're in the mountains and there's a curve and you can't even see, does it go left? Does it go right? And you know how it can just, it can be going uphill, downhill, all these things at the same time. And then you've got these big 18-wheelers on the road with you that maybe don't have the good brakes. Yep. That's when you're going to slow down a little bit more. And that's exactly the best analogy for retirement. Once you get to that point where you're getting near the top of that retirement mountain, you're going to put in your flag, you're going to turn in your keys, have the cake, clean out your desk, have that big retirement party and confetti. But then you've got to figure out what you're going to do, where are you going to take the income from, how are you going to pay your taxes moving forward, how do you pay the least amount of taxes going forward, and how much risk can I and should I afford to take in my portfolio. So completely different rules, completely different game. You've got your first stage advisor, you've got your second stage advisor, and the more complex with many more decisions to be made is definitely associated with the risk that you're going to have in taking distributions out in retirement planning. So just like looking at the mountains. So if you're going up there to see the leaves for this fall, to see the change, just think about that and how you really and truly slow down because you're just unsure of what's going to be around the next curve. Just one other thing, if you go to our website, mycampbellco.com, right there on the front page, we have a risk score analysis that you can do. It takes about 5 minutes, and you can go through that, and then you'll actually get your risk score. It'll be from 1 to 99, and then I will follow up with you, and we can discuss that and see what that means to you. You don't have to have a lot of information, personal information that you're giving there, but it gives you a really good guide for how much risk you can take on a 1 to 99. So basically, how fast are you wanting to drive when you're investing?
We were up in Northwest Florida, and we were going down 95. And let me tell you something. If you're traveling that area, don't be risky. There were cops everywhere. I'm driving, and I've got Gretchen on the GPS going, cop ahead, slow down. So they'll get you. Got to be careful out there with the risk on the highways.
They will. There's some that are well known for their, they don't have speed traps, but they're known for them.
Right. I don't know if you could see it. She just did little quotation marks right there. MyCampbellCo.com. Take advantage of finding out your risk score. And again, you don't have to create an account. You don't have to create a password. It's a couple of pieces of information. And if you'd like, Jackie and the team will reach back out to you, give you some more information. Again, you can find it at mycampbellco.com. We invite you to spend some time on the website to get to know the team, find the multiple locations of Campbell & Company all throughout the Nature Coast. Okay, so we're talking risk. Now let's talk about another key pillar. You just mentioned it, income. For a lot of adults, are going to be relying on their Social Security for income in retirement. But, Jackie, trying to figure out when to take it can be very complex. Now, what happens if you add an older spouse who's also no longer working? Now it gets more complicated. So what is there to know about spousal Social Security benefits? And is this something that you have conversations about often?
Oh gosh, all the time. Just had a conversation this week, and someone, their spouse had died several years ago when they had really small children, and they didn't even realize that at age 60 they could have started claiming their spouse's benefits and then let their own benefits grow till age 70 or 67, whatever they wanted to do. So they were like, I missed like 3 or 4 years of potential benefits there. And so, we're now talking about their retirement plan. This is kind of what happens when you're doing it yourself. You think you're in tune to all the rules, but I love birthdays, and birthdays have everything to do with the numbers and the calculations for your Social Security benefits. So it all depends. There's so many different options for collecting Social Security benefit. If you're single, kind of keeps it real simple, right? If you've never been married, it's based on your age, your earnings record. That's going to be way less calculations. But when you are married and there is if you're the same age, that's going to be a different calculation. If you have 9-10 years variance in you and your spouse's age, different things to consider, right? Because you've got a life expectancy gap there. So I always look at a couple things, Mark, when making those decisions. First of all, are you single? Are you married? If you're married, you're planning for 2 lives, not just one. If you are divorced and you are married to someone for over 10 years, someone just asked me this question. Do they even know if I claim my Social Security benefits under their Social Security number because I was married for 10 years? Guess what? They'll never know. It doesn't hurt them, doesn't impact them. Their second wife will never know. It's just doing what's best for you. So make sure and keep your Social Security numbers of your former spouses. If you've been married 2 or 3 times, you're going to have 2 or 3 choices, right? Sure. So just know what that means to you. And, when is the best time? There really is no magic age. It depends on 2 things, in my opinion. Do you need the income? And the other one is, how is your health? What's your life expectancy? Because it takes about 8 to 10 years to break even. So, for example, if you're going to take your retirement, Social Security, your full benefit, let's just forget the spousal surviving benefits or anything like that now, it's going to take 8 to 10 years for you to break even if you delay it 3 years to age 70, the maximum Social Security age. So the key ages are 62 to 70. Unless you're a surviving widow, then it's age 60. But guess what? The IRS and the Social Security Administration do nothing simple. So there's income limitations and different things like that. And you've got taxability to consider. So a lot of different things to consider in making that decision. So many different options and opportunities. It kind of gets a little confusing. But guess what? It comes down to math. It comes down to estimating what your life expectancy is going to be and trying to figure out the very best way to maximize your Social Security benefits. So lots of different calculations, lots of different rules, but that's one of the greatest advantages of working with someone who is a retirement planner. That is part of our focus. Most financial advisors do not work in that world. They refer you to the Social Security Administration, the SSA.gov on their website, and let you kind of figure those things and navigate your way through it. But a true retirement planner, especially us here at Campbell Company, we consider that as a big, big decision in the rest of your retirement life. So that part of that 360-degree retirement roadmap. So if you're nearing age 62 and you're kind of trying to figure out what to do for when you should target collecting your Social Security benefits, give us a call. Would love the opportunity to have that conversation with you, see how we can help you navigate to and through retirement. And it's not just about getting there, and it's not just about the destination. It's all about the journey and having the clarity, the confidence, and the direction to get there. 352-251-1015 is a good way to call us, or online at mycampbellco.com.
And you've said it before, Jackie, that if you do have questions about your Social Security and you call the Social Security office, those agents, they can't answer questions. They can't offer advice. They can just point you pretty much to the website, which is all they can really do.
That's right. But, scheduling an appointment, like when something's really confusing, that is the best recommendation is, go online, set up your account. That's the recommendation I recommend for everyone. If you're working, I don't care if you're 35 or 40, ssa.gov, get your account set up, your online account. You're going to have to do the ID.me, which is something that you've got to do with every government login of any kind, driver's license, TSA pre-check, any of those things. They're all connected now. But the ssa.gov, get your account set up so you can kind of monitor that as you're working and kind of know what those forecasted and future benefits are going to look like. We have a couple other things as well, Mark. It's, because anything dealing with retirement and taxes is always complicated. But the windfall provision, that was something that was changed at the beginning of this year. It's so great when clients get really excited, not just because they have the confidence and the clarity, or they feel like they're, okay, my shoulders are dropping a little bit, and I can finally feel like I have a plan and know what I'm doing. But to know that they're going to get that windfall, that money back from Social Security Administration because they worked with civil service, or they didn't pay in, maybe working for a school system or something, and they didn't get their full Social Security benefit because they were getting a government pension of some sort, or they didn't pay in to the Social Security system. And I just spoke with someone, and her husband had passed away. She and he had both worked with the civil service, worked on a military base. And he had collected Social Security benefits because he had been working previously to starting work on the military base with civil service. And when he passed away, she had never applied for Social Security benefits because she was told many years ago, you will never qualify for Social Security benefits. Don't ever apply. Well, guess what? I kept having the conversation with her, nudging her along, and I said, hey, it's just a phone call. It's just an appointment. Give the Social Security Administration a call. Go online, set up an appointment. She did. Fortunately, she was able to do a phone appointment with them, so that worked out great. She had to wait a few weeks, but guess what? She's getting over $1,050 per month now, plus the back pay to January, and she is so excited. Now, it's all where you're at. I don't know about you, but getting a windfall of another $1,000 plus every month, I'll happily pay taxes on that. Just go ahead and give that to me. Now, no one may have ever reached out to her because she had never applied for Social Security benefits because she was told that at her separation of retirement about 15, 20 years ago. So it's never, ever too late to look at those things and make sure that you don't have some benefits out there. And they're not going to track you down. They're not going to come knocking on your door or send you a letter in the mail. Well, they would probably never knock on your door, so scratch that example. But just make sure that if there's some potential windfall elimination in your past or your spouse's past, that you're addressing that and just double checking with the SSA.gov, making that appointment and seeing if there's any additional income stream that you might be entitled to, plus the back pay. Again, give us a call with any guidance or direction or a blog on that, 352-251-1015, or online at mycampbellco.com.
Yep, Social Security can be very overwhelming right now. Nothing wrong with asking the questions. There are no simple questions when it comes to, let me rephrase that. Don't feel like you're asking any dumb questions when it comes to your retirement and your Social Security. That's why the team at Campbell Company is here. And by the way, upon your recommendation, I went and set up my file at ssa.gov just to see where I'm at. I'm 15, 20 years away from retiring, just to see where am I right now at this age? What am I tracking for? What do I need to do? So it's kind of just a good update, if you will, to kind of stay on track. So we recommend that to, people, maybe you're 15 years from retirement, maybe you're 10 years out, just to see where am I, ssa.gov, or if you have any questions, 352-251-1015, or you can always shoot the team a message from the homepage at mycampbellco.com. You ready for tip of the day?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Now, the Beyond the Money tip of the day.
A couple of readiness for retirement checkpoints. So if you're carrying significant debt, that's something that we need to plan for before you retire. Not having an emergency fund, you should have 6 to 12 months of expenses accessible in cash or at least liquidity so that when that emergency comes up, you have the ability to do it. And if you're spending more than you're earning, start tracking your budget to make sure that you have a plan for a solid, sustainable lifestyle in retirement. That's just a couple of the retirement readiness checkpoints for retirement. Thank you and for listening today. And if you have anything that's kind of come up from today's show, looking at when to claim your Social Security benefits, the maximization of that, or you're near that red zone of retirement and have some concerns, and just realize that you probably need to get a plan together so that you can feel confident, have clarity, and know direction. With a 360-degree retirement roadmap, that is our goal here at Campbell Company, to try to help you get prepared and feel prepared. Give us a call, 352-251-1015, or online at My Campbell Co. It's all about retirement readiness. This is Jackie Campbell, Certified Financial Planner and Certified Public Accountant of Campbell Company Wealth Advisors and CPAs. Join us again next time on Beyond the Money Radio and the Beyond the Money podcast.